back here at MJBizCon 2022.
Woo!
Las Vegas. We got Andrew DeAngelo in the house from Harborside Notoriety. We got people throwing things out there to each other. It's crazy out there at MJBizCon. I'm here with Luna from Ispire.
Hi, y'all. So good to be here.
Oh my God, I love your voice. You need to be my co-host permanently.
My pleasure.
Oh my God, she got it on that time. She was like, yeah, let me dial it in just a little bit more.
ASMR, Cannabis Network.
I feel like Howard Stern now, you know? We can do a real show on
That's
that.
its own show.
We also have Woodstock, who is the soul of MITA, borrowed from Snoopy. And if you didn't know, Woodstock represents the soul of Snoopy. So he's borrowed over here at MITA.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Woodstock never gets harmed, I noticed.
I'm going to give him a dab real quick.
Yes,
Yeah, he lives forever.
And
He never gets harmed.
And we have Yoda here to share his wisdom with us, keep it real. But this is not about Woodstock and Yoda. It's about another individual of such fame and notoriety as Woodstock and Yoda, Andrew DeAngelo.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
As famous as Yoda, for sure.
How you doing? How's your MJBizCon experience? Let's start there.
It's great, man. I mean, you know, it gets bigger and bigger and more chaotic and crazy every year. You know, you have to have your navigational equipment and plan in place to correctly. And this booth, of course, is part of my navigational plan every year.
As I think it's going to be a part of people's navigational plans permanently, the Ispire Podcast Center.
Yeah.
It has been the cool kids' place today. Have you noticed that, Luna?
Yeah, I think that trade organizations are a really powerful value proposition for people. We know we can only do it with help and with each other, so it's a win-win.
Well, MITA kind of functions as a gateway to the cannabis industry for those, I say, bud tender with a dream to an owner with an exit strategy and everything in between. People want to learn, and it's our pleasure, our honor, and appreciate your attendance. You didn't charge us to be here, to educate, to share.
I should have. Should I send you an invoice?
No.
Okay.
Think about giving knowledge, free knowledge to the people.
Of course.
You're here to help.
Always.
You're here to teach. You're here to teach. Tell us about your journey. I know your cannabis journey probably began when you were just out of college or something. Where did it all begin?
Well, it began a little bit before that.
Right.
People probably out there listening know my older brother, Steve DeAngelo. When Steve DeAngelo is your older brother, you're going to smoke some weed before you go to college. So it happened to me in high school, and I'm glad it did. It was a wonderful, transformative experience, like I'm sure it was for you too, Lena, and maybe you too, Demitri.
And what's the age difference?
10 years, almost 10 years.
He's 10 years older than you?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
You guys both seem like so young. I thought both you got like 45.
Oh, yes. Well, actually, 29 and 39.
29, 39.
29 and 39.
You guys are young bucks. So Steve contributed to your delinquency as a minor?
Yeah, no, proudly so. And it was actually training to be, he would probably use the word revolutionary.
You guys have been revolutionaries.
I use the word leader.
What year did you graduate high school?
1985, the height of the the Nancy and Ronald Reagan era.
You were just saying no kidding. Your brain isn't fried on drugs? I mean,
it was the egg. Yeah, the fried egg came out when I was in high school. That commercial came out. And the cops would come into the high schools and scare everybody. And then you had to be drug tested if you wanted to play sports.
Yep.
Somebody needs to take that marketing campaign and turn it on its head and use it for cannabis somehow. I don't know how, but somehow use it like against itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what
there's
that
care.
means.
People have played with that.
Yeah, people have played with it. Definitely people have played with it.
There's the cops that go in and do positive. What are they called? There's ex-cops that go in and do education.
It's not the
Dream.
No, you mean Leap?
Leap.
Oh,
Yeah.
Leap guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Law enforcement against
I think they
prohibition.
changed their name recently, but I can't remember. Leap was so easy to remember.
Right, I was about to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the brain broke, don't fix it.
Something happened. I don't know. You know how it is with names and trademarks and acronyms. And the lawyers come eventually, no matter how good your name is.
So your advocacy started in the late 80s and into the 90s. What was your involvement with cannabis during all those
today,
years?
right.
No, but it began way back then.
Oh yes, it began when I first started smoking weed. I mean,
85.
Well,
84.
83 is when I started smoking, 83, 84. And, in those days it was kind of dangerous to even be a stoner, and certainly it was risky to advocate for cannabis and to walk around
Absolutely.
and say, I support legalization. They're like, hold on, we're searching you now.
Right.
Go up against the wall, young man.
It's a character
What
flaw.
did you say? And you couldn't even wear a weed leaf.
No.
On your, you know.
No, because you're a lesser of a human being.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be a criminal. You're more likely to be violent.
I got a bad knee, so I gotta
Massive
move around a little bit.
stigma.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you were, okay,
No,
good.
no, I'm not leaving.
All right, good.
I gotta move, I gotta twist,
All
I
right.
gotta turn because it hurts.
All right, good. You need
No.
to,
MJBizCon beats us all up.
Yeah, no.
yeah, wait, it does. You need cannabis. But,
So I'm thinking like, you know, Andrew DeAngelo, Steve DeAngelo, like the Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten of the cannabis movement in the 80s and stuff.
oh yeah, it was kind of like that. I mean,
I'm a big
you were rebels, you were underground, you were deep underground, you were criminals, you were moving, you know, you were dodging cops and hiding from the world, and you did all these wonderful, amazing things that you couldn't tell anybody about.
Right.
And
There was no glory in it.
you know, you had to have all these front businesses so you
Yep.
could have a tax return. And,
Dirty,
you know,
thankless, dangerous work.
So,
Yeah.
Invisible labor that was done.
Yeah.
so how did all of this activism in the 90s and 2000s turn into Harborside? Because that's, you got, your family is really known and tied to the Harborside name.
Right, yes.
Well,
Well,
if there's something I'm missing between high school and Harborside that you want to talk about, we could talk about that, you know?
well, I mean, look, that's a
I'll
long
talk about Frank
period of
Sinatra if
time.
you want.
Yeah, he came a litlittle later to the party. He came in as the clutch in the.
I mean,
towards the
we
middle
opened
of the-
Harborside in 06, so almost 20 years
Okay, 06.
after I graduated high school, about 20 years after I graduated high school. And so, yes, when you sell weed underground, and,
Underground for like 20 years.
yeah, and we had a really bad bust. My brother got busted in 01
01.
on Super Bowl Sunday. I'll never forget it. It's one of those days you'll kind of remember
What
for
did
the
he get
rest of your
busted
life. 235 pounds of weed.
Ooh, damn, Steve.
He should. That's
Yes, well,
good for Steve.
we don't do things small
Good
in
for
this
Steve.
family.
And she was like, I never got busted.
No, I got
Rule number
busted
one,
too, man. I
don't
got
get caught.
I got busted twice in my life. One was in Belize, of all places.
yeah.
Belize.
Yeah,
How do you get busted in a Belize? You have to really break all the rules.
right, because it's chill.
massively.
They're actually going cannabis positive these days.
So I did.
Andrew DeAngelo locked up abroad. The
Yes.
Belize story.
Yes, and they
That'll be
locked
the
me
thing.
up. They locked me up in a chicken coop.
In a chicken
a
coop.
converted chicken coop. And I was there for a few
You're
days.
scaring Woodstock.
And then luckily they suspended my 5-year sentence and just fined the crap out of me.
Wow, you're lucky. Wow,
You
you
can't
got
say
lucky,
chicken
Andrew
coop around
Steve.
Woodstock.
I know.
Jeez.
And then the second time I got busted was in California when cops
California.
it didn't matter if you were medical or not, they just busted you and let the judge figure it out. So
Right, because they want the fees.
or
It's death by
whatever. It was
bureaucracy.
early in the medical program. They didn't give it. They were mad. They
Yeah.
didn't care.
And a lot of them truly believe that we were making the world a less a safe place for their kids. A lot of them, there is an emotion behind it. They want to punish us.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah.
So Andrew,
I believe that. I
so-
believe that.
You know?
I believe that. Yes.
So except for you doing time in a chicken coop in California, let's
Belize,
the
come on,
chicken coop.
Belize.
No, a chicken coop and in California.
Oh yes, both.
Yes. And you
L.A. County Jail was where I
really
was.
frightened Woodstock. I keep saying chicken.
I prefer. I
Oh
would
yeah. Oh, I
chicken
know.
Belize
Well,
over LA.
no.
Not
that-
chicken, but it's
Actually,
place
the
where
Belize
birds-
was way better than
Absolutely,
LA. Oh
because
yeah,
you know
way
they're not
better.
going to dehumanize you and brutalize you.
Well, they did that, but
But it's chill.
they didn't have the budget LA County does to
that was the
dehumanize you. So it was a
We
little.
don't have the
They
time to
weren't polished.
dehumanize it.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
sophisticated.
It's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art. So Harborside. Okay, so 2001, Steve is busted. Starts a long
Well, okay,
journey.
so you don't want to you want to get legal. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's very frustrating to keep getting busted. So and eventually you're like, well, okay, let's try to change the laws, which we had already done. So we had changed the law in our hometown in 1998, November 1998, and my brother got busted shortly thereafter because the Republicans in Congress would not let DC implement the law that we passed. They wouldn't fund it. They wouldn't fund the implementation of it. So it was blocked.
What was that law in November 1988 that was passed?
It was called, I think, Initiative 59.
59. Okay, yeah.
59. And it was a historical day, man. I'll never forget it, because the day after that passed, I got on a plane to Eastern Europe to run away from law enforcement that was closing in on me and busted 2 people I was doing business with. And, you know, they were asking questions about, who's this DeAngelo guy? And so I was like, well, let's pass this thing, and then I'm going to get out of Dodge and head over to Eastern Europe, where we had some industrial hemp going on, me and my brother at the time, and hung out over there for a year or so.
And so when did you come back from Eastern Europe? About what year?
Right around the turn of the millennium, right before New Year's 2000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get to when you guys started participating in the tax and regulate the traditional.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the only place that it was legal then was California,
Right.
Prop
because
215, baby.
yeah, because DC blocked it. So and so we moved to California as soon as my brother got off his legal case and got on probation.
From where?
From DC, our
Oh,
hometown.
you in DC? Okay.
Yeah, our hometown in DC. And once we got to California, we were able to get his probation transferred to California. He was able to smoke weed again because he was a patient. Under California law, you're allowed to do that if you're on probation. If you had enough attorneys and you fought hard enough, which we did, because smoking weed's very important to us. And so that was the beginning of it. And then we formed a patient collective, and we were making hash and selling to other dispensaries before the city of Oakland was the first city anywhere in the world to issue licenses for dispensaries.
Yeah, Oakland, town business, the breaking ground of the Black Panther parties, of the free speech movement in Berkeley. Like, that's so dope. I love that you and Jetty and everyone just blew up Oakland.
Yeah, and
What year was
social
that?
equity is also
We built
born,
it.
Yeah, born in Oakland. I wish we would have built it a little better, but
Well, yeah,
you
because
know,
everyone
it was-
copied and pasted it. It was like bad photocopies that got
yeah. But anyhow,
What year was that Oakland stuff?
05 was when they started.
Okay.
You know, we got our license in, I think, 06, and you know how it is. You gotta get a real estate, you gotta renovate everything, you gotta get the inspection. So all that we didn't get to open till October 3rd, 06. And that was the opening day of Harborside, which incidentally the feds were raiding dispensaries in Hayward,
Yep.
which is the town right next to Harborside.
GOE, Garden of Eden? Or was
Yes.
it the Hemp Center?
No, it's GOE.
Yeah, GOE.
And
Which is now
on
Terpene
our
Golf.
very first day,
Yep.
that-
I graduated college that year from UC Santa Cruz. We were getting arrested for smoking weed on campus and stuff.
You were a banana slug?
Banana slug all day.
I almost was a banana
Samantha
slug.
was
Yep.
my partners.
I ended up being material, but I almost became a banana slug. Sorry.
It was the best.
Oh yeah, it's a
I did. I had
beautiful
mushrooms for my
school.
first time there. I met all of my connections who were growing up in Trinity. That's what got me into cannabis. Is Santa Cruz brought cannabis people together. That's how you get all your best trim jobs and meet your most loving growers that are.
Still a wonderful microclimate for cannabis,
yeah,
and a
and
great
wine.
community.
Yeah.
Even that community, like all of them in California, struggled to get legal. But it's really, in California we have a lot of problems with division and community, but that community is pretty tight down
It is
there.
very sweet.
Yeah.
So 2006, you guys are looking for land. You're involved in the process in Oakland.
Yeah, we found the only location that we thought was big enough, which everyone thought was too big at that time, was this place we ended up opening up at. There was only 2 locations that were compliant with what where the city wanted you to be at that time.
Zoning rules.
And then that would also have a landlord that would do it.
Right, and insurance that would cover you. There's a whole security
Oh my God.
guards that would,
Yeah. So it was
everything
like
had to
this-
align perfectly.
Yes, and it took months and months and months and months and months of work to negotiate with all these different stakeholders and get all that lined up. And actually, that's what I do now as a consultant. Is I help people do all that, and so we did that, and we got the license, and you know the rest is hipstery, as to say.
Well, what year did you guys exit out of What is Harborside now? Is it who owns it? How do you guys exit?
It's owned by very different people now. It is.
What year did you guys?
There was a hostile takeover of Harborside. Harborside went public, which was our first kind of dumb mistake. And
Yeah, the publicly stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that we could have
Well,
a
the
whole
Canadians.
podcast on that.
Yeah.
And so let's not.
Yes.
So that was the first mistake. But then there was a hostile takeover. Our family kind of got kicked out. I had already left by then because when we went public, a lot of the family members and the operational team, it was, you get sat down by the investors, man, and the investor bankers, and they're like, well, you go public, you don't get a job anymore here because you'll probably get fired if you keep your job here. So
many people.
So then you start talking about then negotiations begin. So that's kind of how it worked for me, and we had a whole team of people that we wanted to take care of and share our equity with.
Because Harborside is like a big family.
So can I have to interject here as a Harborside patient that receives so much free care. It was not just an internal situation. Like, we as patients lost so much when the people who founded Harborside stepped away. You used to be able to sit down and write a letter to a political prisoner and get a free eighth. They gave me a shot when they didn't know who I was, like Jetty extracts. They looked at me like, you have CBD. They were the only ones that helped vet me through extremely competitive buyer, they may put you through the ringer. It was basically boot camp, but in a very loving way. But they would always say, come back, right? But always come back. It was a closed door, it wasn't a locked one. And they put everyone through this amazing experience. Basically, Harborside was a brand incubator de facto in a way.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So
that's what we tried to do.
We all lose out. When legacy operators do not have the support or have to sell out to bad actors out of desperation or out of just trying to do the right things, we don't know. All these people that started these collectives, they were just hippies that wanted to do right by the plant. That's what's so funny about all these businesses going under. There's people who own, Magnolia, for example. There were good shops, but these people just were all love, and they didn't have the roots and the suits balanced. They weren't in the spreadsheets. We don't have the sophistication. We don't have the money. The Harborside always had that problem with balancing the roots and suits, and it's sad. Hopefully State House and Urban Leaf and that whole vibe raises it to a new level, but it feels like that whole section of California and Oakland history in particular, when it went right from medical to recreational, there was a sweet period of harmony where everyone was getting kind of their needs met before, compassion totally died.
Yeah. Prop 64 really hurt everybody. But
Metric too. But there was still we still tried to do PADs, we still tried to acknowledge patients to some degree. There was a weird Venn diagram of shades of gray, but
it was really hard.
It was so great. I got free chiropractic, gua sha,
that all
tai
went away.
chi.
They wouldn't let us do it.
Hundreds to thousands of herbalists. I was getting free services, things I would be paying thousands of dollars a month for. I would get through them.
Super proud of that. Super proud. So the people, to answer your question, the people that own and operate Harborside now are very transactional investors who care about, returning money to the shareholders. And, Lord knows the shareholders have taken a beating with Harborside and all the other companies that went public on that exchange up in Canada. And even the bigger MSOs are getting crushed right now.
But now, the most important part is you are the legacy company. You have the understanding, as Lewis can attest to from coming to your talks. You know the heart of the community. You know the culture of the community. You know the culture of the plant, the people and stuff, and you carry it with you as a consultant and try to share it with other companies that are willing to listen.
That's right.
And hopefully, if they do listen, there'll be something more than just a Walmart or a Walgreens that sells widgets.
Well,
they'll be respected by the Lunas of the world.
Well, hopefully, two things will happen when you work with me as a consultant. One is you'll just do better as a business because you'll have a really strong sense of who you are, what your story is, how you're different from everybody else. That's critical. You know how critical that is right now, especially in the industry. And then the other thing is just the experience of doing this for so long. All the great things we did at Harborside and some of the mistakes we made all come to bear for my clients, and their business will have meaning too. So it'll be a better, more profitable business. It'll also be a more meaningful, authentic business because I don't work on stuff that doesn't have some kind of meaning.
So you're available as a consultant, and I'm thrilled to support you making money in this industry because I also know that you're continuing. Because no, seriously, like
that would be lovely.
No, Brian Seaberg, he's like an OG who's involved in the organization. He always gives back, and I know you're giving back too. You're involved with the Last Prisoners Project, and you're involved with other advocacy and other groups. And still, so your success is the industry's continued success, and your continued success is the industry's success. So it's like a natural transition, natural connection. So we're thrilled to promote you.
Thanks.
Tell people a little bit about.
I think we share that value. I think we just got the 5-minute mark. But but yes, I think we share that value, MITA and us.
Yeah, I mean, we love educating people. That's one of our favorite things. Tell us a little bit about the Last Premium Project. Any other groups or stuff that you want to mention next couple minutes?
Well, there's so many great social justice groups now.
Yes,
Luna, you probably know so many. 40 Tons, and Cage-Free Cannabis, and 87 Months, Evelyn LaChapelle's group, and the Weldon Project.
Still normal.
And Canna Moms. I mean, just so many folks doing such good work right now. So Last Prisoner Project, yes, Operation Chief Hack. I just wrote about them. I just wrote about them in Forbes. Yeah, it was really cool. Supernova Women, amazing group of people. So there's just a lot of groups. And so Last Prisoner Project, our mission is to get all cannabis prisoners out on Earth and to support them as they re-enter in society with educational grants and re-entry grants. And then we try to get these politicians to pass laws to retroactively release people when we legalize or expunge people. When we legalize, it's kind of dumb that we legalize something, and then shouldn't everyone just get out of jail the next
day? Free them all. What's the call? Free them all.
So
I was so disappointed in Biden when he didn't just wake up to reality.
Come on. Let's not act surprised. Politicians are not here to
he said disappointed, not surprised. Not surprised.
Here's the thing, expectations are appointments for disappointment.
Hey, that's a good one. I got to remember that.
The catchphrase "cannabis is safer than alcohol" is one of those ones that made me reflect and made me understand. I mean, because I was a domestic violence prosecutor. 97% of our cases involved alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah, 97.
That's a lot.
And 35% was Budweiser. So it's just
that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Do you know the reason why it's different? Do you know that we have no cannabinoid receptors in our spinal column and in our central nervous system? There's no cannabinoid. It's the only place in our bodies that we do not have a cannabinoid receptor, so it can't override the master.
Right.
That's why it's safe. I just learned that a couple years ago.
Interesting.
Yep.
So
you'll vomit it up, or your body, it's an entheogen, so you regulate it, but it never can hit your kill switch.
So we gotta wrap it up because I know you got
up.
That was a fun fact, though. Tell your friends.
Yes, you've got to. We're gonna do this again sometime.
Always.
And you've got events to go to, and you guys got.
I am so excited to go out tonight and see
There's
everyone.
a party out there that's just getting started. This is awesome. Look at all these cool people. We got Lorena Beltran back.
We love Lorena.
People should be coming behind us.
Yes,
all these people should be on.
We got to figure
out.
out.
We have a backwards audience.
You know what?
You'll have to imagine. There's all these people you can't see. They're right over there. They're amazing people, talented people.
And you guys
follow this guy on social media. He does really cool brand shout outs on his Instagram. He does great reels and posts and does unboxings and talks about key points and very supportive person.
Best way for people to get in touch with you.
Info@andrewdeangelo.com or reach out to lastprisonerproject.org if you want to do something with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew DeAngelo.
Thank you both.
Enjoy your MJBizcon experience. Thank you very much.
Free the weed. Free the